WWE 2K23's early impressions are here. They're everywhere. So today, we're gonna have a lot of fun. There's a lot of news, there's a lot of articles, there's a lot of videos out there. What I'm going to do for you today is I'm going to take all of this and I'm going to condense it down into the things you need to know. We're talking about the new pinning system. We're going to talk about the entrances and some of the impressions there, and some great details regarding universe mode and a whole lot more. Let's get into it right now. Double title entrances are in the game. Yeah. Come on, that's gotta be something, right? So Roman Reigns' double title entrance is confirmed. We've seen it, we got it right here. What do you think? What do you think of the model? What do you think of Roman doing the entrance with it? The titles themselves don't look to be redesigned in terms of just sizing. They look like they were in 2K22. We'll talk about the comparisons of 2K22 and 23 in a few minutes. I like Roman's entrance overall. It's missing the pyro for me when he does come into the ring and holds up both the belts. The question I have is this specific to just Roman Reigns for double titles? Can any superstar have both the belts? If that's the case, I can't wait to see what other double title entrances look like, all the different motions, and to see what it looks like if Paul Heyman is set as the manager, because this looks to be just Roman Reigns solo, nothing else. So I wonder if we're getting alternate entrance motions and victory motions as well. War Games impressions are everywhere. From where I'm sitting, looks great. We have 3 arenas, as the devs have confirmed, for War Games. You're gonna get Survivor Series, you're gonna get NXT, you're gonna get a third one. It does seem like they are using this specific modeled version of the arena. Based on the devs interviews they did over the weekend, 2K is gonna give us this arena style for War Games. They said in recent interviews that this was their best way to make the entire match work itself, where you have the cages up on the ramp where they are visible, which I kind of like because then we are going to see them. There's more lighting there. And I think frankly, fans are just excited to be able to have this match type in the game. My key takeaways from War Games, watching all of the footage everywhere, I love that we have weapons accessible outside of the ring. You can see here where they are going to be pulling them out before they enter the match. So we can load up the ring, you can have tables on fire and chairs and stop signs, all this crazy stuff. That's a lot of fun. You have the countdowns, you have the buzzers going off for the next entrant into War Games. It just looks like a lot of fun. All right, let's talk character models, because there is like all the entrances. Well, a vast majority of entrances have come out, and we're seeing some models look, in my opinion, really good. Some are meh, some are totally unchanged. Asuka's entrance, for example, love it. Love the attire, love how it all looks, and the mask. It's really, really nice. One entrance I kind of had a problem with. Let me know what you think. Charlotte Flair's entrance holding the women's championship. You still got some clipping through the belt with her robe, which is a real bummer here. Also the hair physics, and we saw this a little bit with the trailer too. It's kind of stiff, cardboardy looking. Hair I know is so tricky for them to nail, but I know that people that are really into community creations, that really want to be able to have their female superstars looking as best they can, stuff like this is a little problematic. And again, early build, maybe we'll see some updates and things get a little bit more refresh. There were articles posted online too of some people encountering some glitches, some warping, things like that. There's still enough time where we could see a few little updates and fixes along the way. We do get the big time Bex entrance, and what do you think of Becky Lynch's updated look here? I gotta say, I'm kind of I get it, like I get why this is the entrance, because it's the time of them capturing Becky Lynch in this look. This is what they're including in the game, but since then her look has changed and it's gone back to a little bit more of the man look. I hope we have some options in there to tweak things, or an alternate attire that they released, or a My Faction one that is unlockable. I'm just not a very big fan of this look of Becky Lynch with all the eye makeup, because I wonder if I'm even going to be able to remove it in the game to set an alt attire. Little details in like Rhea Ripley's entrance, for example, look really good with the hair, where she does put her head a little bit further down and then comes back up, and the hair, you're seeing it move a little bit more. And we saw this with Roman Reigns' entrance in the trailer where he flicks the hair back. So I think that they're doing a better job and they're focusing a little bit more attention to detail with this, and I'm excited for it. But then again, one negative, like I saw online in a lot of preview videos, Chyna's model, for example, we got a clear shot of Chyna, and her face detail and textures don't look good. Like, it just does not look very good. I'll keep saying it though, It's an early build of the game. We can see these things get polished and refined before launch, and I know some of the legends it's hard to capture, but there are some goods and there are some critiques in here too. And sticking with entrances and some of the stars, Brock Lesnar, for example, like this entrance leaked this morning. Brock's motion is the exact same. However, we're getting way better lighting and reflections on the stage, as you can see here. This stuff goes a long way for me personally. I like when they can do these little touches like lighting reflections and more dynamic range. The motion is exactly the same, but it's the same Brock Lesnar that we've had. Like, he hasn't changed his look. He's Cowboy Brock now. Throw a hat on him and it's all good. But if you compare side by side of Brock's 22 entrance to 23, his facial motions and what he's kind of muttering throughout his animations are slightly different and updated. If you go and watch anybody's footage online and you're listening to the ring announcer, yes, Mike Rome is confirmed to be the ring announcer, and it sounds great. It's refreshing, to be honest, from where I'm sitting, because those things, again, small details, you might just skip entrances yourself, but I like the fact that they got Mike Rome to do the announcing for this. It adds a little bit of a refresh that was sorely needed. Some of the updates that I have found online through all of the preview coverage, one of them being new victory motions. This is highlighted by Element Games, and they showed off in their preview footage that there is a new Royal Rumble victory scene that is available, and there is going to be a War Game specific victory motion for your team. I'm glad they did the Royal Rumble one. It's pointing at the sign. It's a great little update, and hopefully that means we see more victory motions and sequences getting updated this year. Up Down Down was doing their first gameplay reveal of War Games, and one screenshot that has come out is going to be of the selection screen. So we can see all of the updated renders for the superstars. I have seen Edge's entrance, for example, floating around online a little bit. He does have his short hair look, which is great. That has been updated. Cody Rhodes' render in this one, I'm not too keen on, to be honest. But what I like seeing is the change in the selection screen where it is John Cena themed, where we have all of the green and you can see John Cena's logos in the background. So they are sticking with the showcase theme this year for your selection screen. And maybe somebody can help me out, but we have the entrances, you can toggle them on and off, that's normal, but we also have Advantage Team 2. So maybe you've found out what the advantage is going to be. Is it based off the ratings of the stars? But let me know, but it looks to be a little bit of a new feature they're adding in this year. Let's talk now about the new pin system that is available in the game. If you checked out any of the other coverage here on the channel, you do know that we are going to get the original pin that is available in 2K22, and we have the new optional new system for 2K23. IGN.com had a write-up on the new pin system, and it goes like this, quote, "There is one advertised change that did make a difference to the core mechanics. WWE 2K23 puts to the forefront an optional variety to kicking out of pin attempts, offering the choice for players to flick the right stick in a timed window as opposed to mashing a button. The kickout zone is a sliding bar that decreases in size and moves more unpredictably as the match progresses and your vitality decreases." They go on to say in the article that the new timed window system always provides the elusive chance of a kickout that you don't get when the button pressing demands are beyond the realms of human capability. So I was a little nervous and skeptical of a new pin system, thinking, okay, here we go again. Number one, I like that it's optional. If fans want to be able to button mash, they can do that. If you want to be able to go for something that's a little bit more accessible, I like that a lot, especially for players on the accessibility side of things, that if they don't have the ability, physical ability, to sit there and smash a button, that is really, really problematic. I know that they have the options in the game for 2K22 where you can long press, but for some, it might just be easier for them to flick the stick in the window as the meter is going back and forth and try to time it out. For others, it might just be really nice and refreshing to have an updated system to create more drama during the match where you're getting those near falls. So I am excited to get my hands on the game and being able to try out that new system. Now, something else that is getting a bit of a refresh, reversals. Reversals have evolved over the years, haven't they, with the games? They are sometimes really good, they're unlimited, they're limited. It's just, sometimes they're just reversing every damn thing you're throwing at them. But Digital Trends has a little write-up here for us regarding some of the changes for the reversals. Quote, "Take reversals for instance. In 2K22, reversals were fairly frequent. Players would get a lengthy amount of time to hit the reversal button, making matches play out like a constant seesaw. That made for some visually exciting moments, but didn't really simulate wrestling too well. The window feels much shorter in 2K23. making reversals a little more special when they do happen. Another small update that I'm glad is included is we're getting a little bit of a refresh when it comes to the HUD. I'm a stickler for having things neat and clean in my games, and especially in the wrestling games, and sometimes it's way too cluttered and you can't really focus on it that much. The HUD has just received a little bit of a refresh, and that's all. The colors pop a little bit more in my opinion. It's all the same layout, but I can more clearly identify how many finishers I have, where I could have 1, 2, or 3. And the special meter does progress differently. Instead of having the normal 3 slots, it appears that that meter is just kind of gradually filling up now as you play the match. Next up, let's talk about some exciting updates that we learned in some of the dev interviews for the 2K event, talking about Universe Mode and My GM Mode. Before I do that, if you guys can, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, because it supports the channel here. It helps us grow and get bigger and all that good stuff. So, Universe Mode. Lionel Jinx did an interview with Phoenix Nitro himself. Shout out to my man Phoenix Nitro, who did a great job interviewing Lionel Jinx and asked some really good questions regarding changes and updates of what we could expect from Universe Mode. So what we know from this interview is that Superstar Mode is confirmed again. So we are going to have a standard universe mode that we're used to, and the newer option that was brought into 2K23, where I can select Superstar Mode and I can focus in on just Bianca Belair and her journey in my universe, and then I could toggle back to the standard universe mode. We do have both options. Let me know what you think about that. I didn't use Superstar Mode a ton. I did like to drop into it if I wanted to have key moments or I wanted to play out a very specific rivalry. That was kind of cool, but I didn't touch it a lot. I stuck with the tried and true regular universe. Lionel Jinx did confirm himself that the list of action options are there. So you want to be able to create a rivalry, you want to have interference, you want to kind of run promos, you want to do specific actions to another superstar, to the AI. You can do that in universe mode. So is it story designer? Not really. It sounds a lot more like set up your matches, pick from the list. Do you want to create an action against the CPU? Do you want to have a breakout in the entrance and attack them? Do you want to be able to run a bit of a promo? Do you want to do a post-match beatdown? There's going to be a standard list of options for players to choose from. How deep is that? Don't know. They're introducing this for the first time, and what I would think, just in my opinion, is that it's going to be a very baseline feature that sounds exciting, and I'm definitely excited to get my hands on it. Lionel Jinx himself said that Universe Mode is the sleeper hit for him this year. That has me excited because Universe Mode has been around for years, and it is probably my favorite thing to do. But I expect this new action item list to give us a fairly decent amount of options. Is it going to give you replayability? Maybe. Could it get a little repetitive? It is possible. It just depends how in-depth this is. But you know what? It's there, and I'm happy that we're going to get that as opposed to just traditional cutscenes that we have seen year after year after year. Doing these action items has a gamification component to it, and that's according to Lionel Jinx in this interview, who talked about how there's a bit of a meter for who won this event, and it's tied on to like momentum and a few other options according to Lionel Jinx that are going to determine who won that interaction. It's kind of like having your promos, right? Where we had the promo options before in 2K games, and the better your promo and the better the crowd response, you get a better rating out of it, and then who won that interaction. He's talking about something very similar here with these action item lists, so that we can select it. If I'm going to do maybe a interference at the beginning of a match on my opponent, maybe it's going to be based on how big that rivalry is, how long it is, superstar ratings, a couple of different factors to determine who's going to win that action item. I'm glad they add a little bit more to this, and it's not just going to be select an action item and then it just happens. But a really cool thing that they talked about in this interview for universe mode was that there's going to be free mode. So Phoenix Nitro and Lionel Jinx were talking about, can the AI select their own action items from a list? Do I control everything for both sides? How does it really work? And Lionel Jinx talked about free mode being made available, where you can control everything. Free mode allows you in universe to select and control the action items for not only yourself, but for your opponent as well. He said though that you can also have it so that it just plays out on its own normally, where you can select the action items for yourself. The AI is going to select their own if they're going to be a heel or a face, and then you could see how it plays out from there. So that, to me, that's a really, really cool feature they're going to be adding into Universe. We get that, a little bit of a facelift. We've got a nice updated roster, Universe mode, and assuming it doesn't crash, because the creations, that was a mess. But if they've tightened that up, and they've tightened up the glitches and the crashing, and they added in these new action item lists to help people who wanted story designer and promos brought back in, and you're gonna get a little bit more options for a free mode to be able to have more control over Universe, I think it's a bit of a win. We'll have to wait and see when we get more info on Universe mode, but it's exciting. The last piece they talked about in this interview was going to be My GM. They couldn't talk much about it. The only thing that they did confirm was that you can compete against up to 4 GMs in your My GM mode, which he said brings a lot more of a different dynamic to it, makes it more challenging. You're paying more attention to what the competition is doing. That plus the other reports that we have seen earlier regarding things like 3-way, 4-way matches being brought in, mid-card titles coming back in. GM mode sounds a lot more promising this year. And I think, as I've said before in previous videos, it was much more of a baseline mode in 2K22. They got the foundation in there, and now they can take it up a notch in 23. For more WWE 2K23 news and updates, click this video right here for all of the little details that I found in the latest trailer breakdown. Subscribe to the channel, and thanks so much for watching. I will see you on the next one. Bye.